Aha. Okay. That's nice to see. So I think it's all okay now. Thank you to anyone who's still here, or those of you who will come back. Hello, Triple Gote. Hello, yeah, hey, Nijay. Yeah, this is, so what happened is that for some reason the settings on my streaming software changed, I get the impression. And then they decided you can't stream anymore. So I had to, like, reboot the software. Oh well, okay, but now we're back. Now we're back. So we were. Oh man, I was just telling the exploits of how I was like how I was swindling a game. So yeah, let's get back to that. That was more fun than fixing like streaming software. Okay, so to get back to the topic at hand, right? I was just discussing how the game looks at the moment, right? And how the way the game looks at the moment is that A and B are cut, and neither one of them's alive. Like if it were my turn, I can play B18 and black is locally dead, and his group in the center is actually relatively thick. It has a lot of room to maneuver, but it is certainly not a, let's say, a living group. And at this point I was like so happy. I was beyond happy because black's points are gone and black's groups aren't alive. That's all I need. And indeed, the computer says that this game is like a coin toss now. It's like a 50-50. And I mean, it says a 50-50, and from a human perspective, it's not just a 50-50, it's just a mess, So I was really happy. And this is something that happens to people like Calvin. It definitely happened to Calvin here. They were trying to, like, the people in general, right? And Calvin is included in this. They are trying to simplify the game and keep their territory and keep the things that sort of made the game good for them. And then, once things don't go their way, that has a big negative effect on their mentality. And I think that affected Calvin, like, quite badly as the game progressed. Like, it's like, oh no, now the game's a mess. When I thought I was winning, So that, I from this point I have the mental edge. And yeah, so what ended up happening is that he pushed through, and pushing through is a very interesting decision because technically he could just live, right? He can even live by extending, and then say, well, this is my Sente, my group is like kind of big and kind of thick, and it's hard to kill. And you'd be surprised at how little black has lost in terms of territory. It looks like black has lost the entire left side, but in exchange, he got this endgame at B18. Also in exchange, because I have to connect my group on the left side, it means I'm never making points around C. And his group here is actually not that weak. So in this like shape problem of whites, like this shape problems of whites, like it makes it hard for white to actually make any profit anywhere on the board. So even though black has lost his lead, black's fine, right? Even though black lost the entire left side, he's only lost about Komi's worth of his advantage. Oh, Wizardo, yeah, I'm back. Yeah, you're back too. That's good. Yeah, Calvin snapped here. I think so. So the rest of the game was really imprecise for both of us. But what he did was weird. Like, cutting through here just hurts his other group. And what ended up happening, yeah, here. I connected everything because these two are Miai, so you can basically imagine this position. I'm forcing him to come back, which he did. And then that gives me time to attack his group in the center. And now his group is actually weak because he felt like making these exchanges. So this means that black's in big trouble now. And even if black survives, I guess that white has an advantage. And now we get to, okay, this position. And in this position, okay, right here, I read ahead, like after he haned, and the hane is basically saying, well, if I play like A or B, I don't have sufficient ice space. So I'm gonna play here and like make a haphazard attempt to play A and connect. So what I read was no, not this move, connect, and I can cut here. That was my reading. And the reason I can cut here is sort of funny. When he plays this Atari, which I was reading, white can play a really unintuitive move, counterintuitive move. White can play this empty triangle. And this empty triangle looks really odd. But the point is that black doesn't have a way to cut through. Like here, and white has this Atari, and white plays here, so white's okay. And if black tries something like to get out this way, this Atari, and any of these Ataris, there's just not enough power. White blocks you in. And in the game, I made a big mistake here, because I actually saw J12, and I decided not to go for it. Oh, Wizardo1992, thank you so much for subscribing. Wow, there's lots of subscribers this stream. Thank you very much for the subscription. Cool. So yeah, J12 is the right move, and I saw it, and the reason I didn't play it is kind of unfortunate. I saw J14, and J14 is sent deck, and now I have to play like K11. Keep in mind that we're both on 30-second Byoyomi, and we don't have any periods left, so it's just 30-second go. And I looked at this shape, and I got really scared. Because I was like, wait, what if he plays like here, and I have to connect, and then here, 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 and I'm not alive either. So that was disturbing to me. You know, I didn't like that. And actually, the most annoying variation black can play was this. And I didn't read this in the game, I just saw it later while discussing the game. Is that he can basically take all my eye shape this way, like the violent way, and then, like, I have no liberties. And I'm locally dead. The reason I'm locally dead is that now black does this, and takes this eye. And then this was really scary to me. This type of idea, this type of shape problem, that really scared me. So I didn't want to allow black A to be sent there. So in the game, I panicked, and I played this move, which is a ko. Black can just make a ko. And now if I try to Atari the stones, then he's also Atariing this. If I connect, he pulls out. Oh, sorry, he doesn't pull out because then I would Atari. Black has a different move. Black would Atari here, here, and here, and he's connected. He's actually connected. If he wants to be really mean about it, he can Atari and then play here, and then my whole group on the right side's dead because I'm out of eye shape. So in the game, I knew that this move ended in a ko, and I knew that this one didn't. I was just scared. I was just scared about J14. Now, the reason J14 isn't a problem is quite funny. I can Hane. And I didn't see the Hane originally. Like, when I was reading this sequence, I didn't see the Hane. Because I was, like, thinking of fixing the other problem, not fixing both at the same time, which is a major mistake by me. I have to say that in 30-second Byoyomi this late in the game, this is a 2-game match. We've been playing for, like, 3 hours and a half. Yeah, then that's, like, hard, you know, like everyone's playing worse. So this is something I missed reading wise. That's kind of embarrassing, but I did it. And it's kind of understandable given like most of the blunders in TPGL are towards the end of the series in the second game at the end of the game. And this type of blunder is one of them. The reason this Han is really good is that it decreases the liberties of the black stones, and this is something I tell my students all the time. Reading is based on liberties. You notice liberty shortages and you exploit them. And when black tries to pull some of these combos, such as here, 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 oops, it's Atari, right? So black has to play here and waste his time. And now, if I remember correctly, black shouldn't have anything of note here. Yeah, white's fine. So, as far as I can tell. So, and this is still really complicated. Another thing that scared me was how in some variations, in certain variations, let's say, what's a variation where this would happen? Or we can look at that variation like this one here, and then wait, what was the variation I showed you guys where this group died? That's what I mean. Like, I was scared of this group dying because when black gets this Atari, like this Atari and this move, I'm sort of dying also with that group, like with the other group. So there were a lot of really scary features about this position, and I didn't read them out very well because I had 30 seconds. But I panicked and I went for the ko. And the idea in the ko was, well, I don't know about this ko. This is a 50-50. You know? I was like, well, who knows? This is a ko, for black's life. But like this, I can at least play here instead. Like, after black turns at J14, I can protect, so I don't have to worry about all of those things I was worrying about. Now, the ko, AI actually says it's very slightly better for black. Like, black's 3 points better if black plays the ko. Why? I have no clue. From my perspective, the human perspective, this ko is just a mess. Because his threats are like this, and then, I can connect, that's a threat because A and B are miai now, and then black connects and I take, and then black has like a threat here, and then I defend, and then he takes back, and then I have like threats to kill his group in the center, and like it's just a mess, right? From a human perspective, this is a 50-50. Computer said black's up 3 points because it probably figured out a conclusion to the ko where black's slightly better. But yeah, actually this was a big mistake from white because had I played here, the game's just over. Reason being, after black turns at J14 and I hane, none of the combinations on the top side work. My group is too big and has too many liberties, so even if black kills it locally, it should be fine. Actually, and I don't think black can kill it locally. And his other group is just out of eye shape. Like, it's dead. So, and it has no way to connect. So, yeah, I love no clue AI goes. Yeah. So I loved it too, especially when I was playing an important game on 30-second Byoyomi. I mean, I wasn't happy I was playing a ko. I was just, I just didn't want to take the risk. But this move is actually a mistake. This move, like, according to AI, cost me like 35 points or something like that. It's a really bad move. And I am disappointed because the main thing I was scared of was that in this position, black has this kind of aji, right? Like I was talking about, like this. I am disappointed that I didn't realize, what if I had a stone here instead, so that now I'm able to Atari? That's not that hard to see, and I should have seen it, so that's the disappointing part. Okay, in the game, he played this one first, which is Sente, and then he turned, and remember how I said that earlier I missed A? Now I didn't miss A. So in this position, instead of extending, which was my idea, and allowing the ko, I changed my mind. So I played K13. Now there's no ko, but none of his combinations work because there's this invisible exchange on the board. So what happened was that after he played this shape move that we were discussing earlier, I just Atari'd, right? I just Atari'd and connected, and then this shape is not a problem. There's no issues. It looks a little bit scary, but it's fine. And white's alive with everything, and black's big group is cut off. So this was a really interesting moment in the game. And I think I have to say that probably both of our staminas wavered. So from Calvin's perspective, he's been beating me all game. He was the better player this game. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, like, this happens to him. And he tried to play all defensive and stuff, and then the game went completely out of control. And as Siku earlier said in the chat, Calvin snapped. Like, I think his precision just went down. He started playing worse, and he sort of lost control of the game. I also lost control of the game, I think, for a different reason. Like, mentally, I was probably in a much better place than him at this point, but I was tired, and it's late. And yeah, my stamina sort of wavered, I think, because in retrospect, this is a simple misread. Like, not seeing this Hane is something that should be below my level, but it wasn't. And it could have, basically prevented me from taking a one game, because that's what it was at this point. So that's there were hiccups at the end. To be fair to us, it is 30-second Byoyomigo. It is an excessively complicated situation, and it's late after a 2-game series, so there's a lot of reasons for us to blunder. Nevertheless, I'm unhappy I blundered here. Again, with that said, he blundered back, so fortune favors the lucky or something like that. Um, oh man. Yeah, I think I have to say that this game, I think my level of play wasn't too bad. I think 06 was okay. Like, basically, my play was not amazing, but fine up until here. And then here, the game spiraled out of control really quickly. Then it spiraled further, right? And then I had to, after this point, I played really well. Because I played really resourcefully. Like, from being behind, I constructed the types of situations that would lead to a messy position where I might win a game. And that, this type of position, being like winning this type of position for white is actually a work of two players. Black also has to help me. Like, black needs to cooperate. But, opponents cooperate. That's how they roll. So, yeah. Congrats on your wins. Thank you, Starduck. Yeah. Oh, jumping point. Hello. You're back also. Yeah. Sorry about the intermission. Yeah. So, I'm proud of how I played the second half of the game because my play was really structured. Like, after this point, I survived with the group. I settled my group. I didn't try to kill black, which would have been a ludicrous way to lose the game. I stayed patient, I evaluated the game, and then I found the one way to mess the game up, which was C13. This was very good for me. Later in the game, I'm unhappy that I wavered and I sort of made some, like, sort of basic reading mistakes with the length of the game and losing focus, etc. Which happens, especially in fast games, but, often the result of a game can hinge on such mistakes, so I'd rather not make them. Other than that, I think my idea here was really bad from a direction of play perspective, and then also I made a strange Joseki choice here, which probably wasn't good locally or for the position, so that was really strange. So I got myself into a bad spot for sure. I have to say that in a way, I am proud. I'm even prouder of my first game against Calvin because there I won just playing better than him, like just outplaying him. Like from start to end, I thought that I was either even or better. But in this particular game, I'm also proud of my ability to mess the board up, which is a very, very important quality. Like, you have to be resourceful and you have to win positions you shouldn't win. That's like mandatory, especially for top players. Because the way that Go works isn't who played better, it's who wins. So Calvin, I think, was the better player than me on the board at Go, but he sort of crumbled later in the game, and I was more resourceful than him, and that ended in a win for me. That's really important in competitive Go. Loving Sun, nice to see you streaming. Nice to see you here, dude. How's it going? You were streaming earlier today also, I saw. So yeah, how's it going? So yeah, that concludes my review of this game, I think. And I have to say I'm really happy about the 2-0 result against Calvin. Calvin's a good player. Like, in my opinion, I shouldn't win 2-0. Like, I think based on level, that should have been a 1-1. I should have won the first game, he should have won the second. Based on level. And then there's a lot of competitive factors. I think one of the big problems that NA has is that they have no tournaments. People like Calvin don't get to practice. So throughout our series, Calvin made a lot of really basic reading mistakes for someone of his level. So I think his level of understanding is actually quite high. I was impressed. But he made relatively big reading mistakes. And also his mentality, like, his mentality faltered really easily for the competitive stage he's on. And I think that can be attributed to the lack of practice NA professionals have. Right? I think Calvin's a strong player, should be stronger than me, very possibly, and doesn't live in an environment where he gets to practice his competitive skills or sharpen his reading. So that's a pity. But I'll take the wins, I guess, and I am happy with how I played. Calvin is a strong player, so I'm happy with my performance. Calvin's stronger than Andre. I'm quite sure of that. I mean, their series was Andre got wiped off the face of the planet in that series, and I think Andre's a better player than that. Andre Kravitz, 1P, he was commenting earlier today. He was doing the commentary for the Transatlantic League, and he's not a bad player, right? But he's out of shape at the moment, badly out of shape. That's my opinion. So I think at the moment I'm playing better than him. I got the impression. Usually he should be better than me still, but I have been playing better than him, and Calvin sort of crushed him. So that I'm happy to be performing relatively well, in comparison to these professionals. I think I'm quite proud of that, I guess, since I barely made it into this tournament in the first place. Yeah. Jumping Point says, don't you think, assuming you've got the proper mindset, the internet is good enough as an environment just to get all the practice you need? That's a very interesting question if we consider COVID, right? Because I think something very interesting about COVID is that it has tested European players, let's say, resilience in training, right? And our commitment to the game. And people calling for Oscar's pro title. Hang on. There's a lot of strong European amateurs, and it's a hard tournament. So, dude, it's a knockout. Pro qualification is a knockout. That's hard. Anyway, back to Dennis's question. Oh man, I said Jumping Point's name. I know Jumping Point personally, so so back to Jumping Point's question. I think COVID was a really interesting, let's say, simulation of how people's attitude flows while we're just on the internet. Back when I was a slightly younger player, I really needed tournaments to motivate me to study. I'd interact with people, I had goals to look forward to, I had games to stimulate my progression, and training on the internet was really hard. I'd have a hard time focusing, I'd get disconcentrated super easily, I'd lose motivation, etc. And I think one of the big reasons that at the moment I'm one of the stronger amateurs in Europe, I'm not going to say the strongest, but I'm one of the stronger amateurs in Europe, is that during the pandemic, where there's not this stimulating, motivating factor of just playing tournaments and having this environment with other people and big events to look forward to, I've kept very steadily training. I've organized practice games for myself, I've studied quite a lot, I've put myself deeper into Go via my teaching, and I think that's been very healthy for my Go. So I think, assuming you do have the proper mindset, the internet is good enough. Now, of course, it has to be said that the internet, it's not just the internet that's helped me. It's European online tournaments being organized. It's other players willing to practice playing against me. So it's not just the internet, but broadly speaking, the answer is yes. And I think a big measure of a player's ability to progress is their ability to keep practicing and have the proper mindset, even where there's not a specific goal in sight. For example, the beginning of a pandemic that we knew would last for a while, where you're just doing nothing. I think a lot of European players just stopped practicing, and in my opinion, that's why a lot of the European professionals are really badly out of shape. I think Andri's badly out of shape. I think Pavel's badly out of shape. I don't think they're bad players. I just think they're out of shape. And that's been showing in their performance. So, yeah. Kudos to certain players like Ilya, who have kept their form. They're still playing at a high level. So, I appreciate that. I also appreciate that in myself. So, I'm proud of that. Yeah. So that was a slightly lengthy answer to a question, but it's an interesting question. I think it's a good note to end the stream on. Yeah, I'm glad of my win. I'm quite happy to have a 3-3 result so far in playing professionals, right? My next game will be on Sunday on the 25th. I will be playing Artem Katanovsky 2P, and it's my final game of the group stage. If I go 2-0, I'll qualify for the semifinals, where I believe I will be playing Ryan. If I get 2-0, but 2-0 is very far away result. My intention for the time being is quite simply to win my first game. That's my next game. So I'll see how I do. I really look forward to the match. I'm quite motivated for it, and yeah, hope to see you streaming more. Yeah, thanks for the sentiment, son. Oh, and good luck in your games. Yeah, thank you. It is summer. I have a little bit more time. I've enjoyed this stream. It's hard for me to get time to sit down and stream because, among other things, I've become more and more involved in my own learning process, like looking at professional games, doing Sumego. So it's been harder to set aside time for streaming. So I have mixed feelings about streaming because streaming is a lot of fun. I think it's really good as a teacher. It's a good thing to do. I think I hope I make my streams educational, but sometimes I just get into like my own routine of studying Go, and then it's hard to fit in time. But yeah, this stream was a lot of fun. I hope to make more like it, especially game commentaries, which I'm starting to enjoy making quite a lot, and possibly some fun Fox games for the hell of it, which I used to do a lot. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. This was a fun one. I'll see when I stream again. I might spontaneously stream pretty soon because I am on holiday at the moment. I do have more time. So yeah, thank you for watching. Looking forward to seeing your 2 wins, man. Yeah, thanks. I hope so. Yeah, I'll end the stream here. Thanks a lot for watching, and see you next time.